Hello, everybody, and welcome into another News and Rumors video here at the Hockey Writers and the Ottawa Senators. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and I've got Jacob Billington, as always, updating the Senators every week here and as much as we can during the season. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going good. Senators aren't doing great, but I am, so.
Yeah, the Senators are off to a bit of a slow start to start the season here, but we'll talk about that later on. But the one guy that is doing really well, I mean, probably the only one that's really carrying the Senators offense right now is Shane Pinto. He is off to a blazing start. You got what? Is it? Yeah, 7 goals already in 6 games, 8 points. He doesn't have many assists, but 7 goals. So, and of course, he's up for a next contract as well. 8-year deal has been on the table here. What do you think a price point is for that type of a deal for Pinto, especially with the hot start that he's gotten off to here?
Yeah, so Shane Pinto's up for a new deal. He's been doing very, very, very well with the Ottawa Senators. He's got 21 goals last year. That was his career high. 7 already. He's going to smash his career high. I don't think he's going to score 40 or 50 or 60 like he's on pace for. But he has talent, and he's kind of showing that right now. He's not the kind of guy that's you expect to put up a point per game, but if he can slot into the second line center, or even we can talk a little bit later about the configuration of the lines, but if he can get into the top 6 playing with really talented players, he could score 70 points. And I think I said that last time. It's going to be 3 centers, and Dylan Cozens is going to be the lowest paid center for the Ottawa Senators in the top 9, just because that's the way things work. A couple of years ago, when these guys were signing their extensions, the 7-8 million, that's pretty fair. Right now for Pinto, 7-8 million is also fair. And I think that's what he's going to get. So Elliot Friedman reported that he has an 8-year deal on the table. I think that the Senators are very, very smart to do that. And I have to imagine the lowest that he would sign for is 7.5. And even then, on an 8-year deal with the cap going up the way it's supposed to, I fully expect to see even more than that. So,
yeah, I'd see that. I mean, the way that these contract extensions have been thrown out so many times, Luke Hughes signing him, he's a defenseman, but I mean, young player getting a pretty big number. And then you're looking at Shane Pinto. I mean, I think especially, I mean, I don't know, he could hit at 12. Of course, it probably will hit 20 goals and could push 30, especially if he keeps on this pace. But yeah, he's worth it. And the way he's playing, he's probably going to get way more than that. Maybe 9. I don't know. I mean, the way like you say, the cap's going up, you never know what type of money is going to be thrown around for these guys, especially if they start producing at that level, right?
And the best part about Shane Pinto is that in your lineup, he's the perfect third line center. He can chip in the offense. He's shown that. He's great defensively. He does well in the faceoff dot. He's all around the ice. He works well with almost anybody. Shane Pinto is an elite center that the Senators have a luxury of having right now. So seeing Shane Pinto thrive isn't a surprise. He's not going to score at this rate, but
no.
Yeah, he's definitely in the conversation to take over the second line center spot from Dylan Cozens.
Yeah.
Who has also played well. Not Cozens' fault. Cozens has been great. But
yeah, but it's good if those are your 3 centers and they're all playing well. Tim Stützle leading the way, of course. So yeah, it's just everyone has to start playing a bit better for the Senators to pull themselves out of this early hole. I mean, very early, but yeah, it's not been a good start for everyone else. All right. Well, speaking of the struggles, goaltending. Now, Linus Ullmark is, of course, the starter. He has not started the season very well either. But now that we talked I know the season preview, we were talking about the backup, Levi Marilainen, and of course, taking that role to start the season, had a horrible first start, allowed 7 goals in his only start this season now. Ullmark started the rest. He's 3.99 goals against average, 848 save percentage, not the best numbers either. Jacob, I mean, who's the backup now? Marilainen was just sent down. Sogard was called up. He is now the backup. How are you going to fix this with the backup problem here?
So I think the easiest way to answer that question is saying that Levi Merilainen is still the backup goaltender. I think he's going to go down to the AHL. I think he's going to play 1, maybe 2 games, and then come back up. I don't expect Mads Søgaard to play any games at this point. I think it's going to be Ullmark plays the next. I don't know exactly how the schedule lines up between Ottawa and Belleville, but I expect Ullmark is going to play the next 2-3 games in a row. Levi Merilainen is going to play 2 or 3 in the AHL and then come back up. And so unless there's a need, so whether it be Ullmark not performing well or an injury, knock on wood here, I think that Mads Søgaard is just kind of going to be a bit of a bench warmer. Even in the AHL this season, stats aren't very good. He only has an .864 save percentage. He's allowed 6 goals on, I think it was 54 shots or something. So not great. Although that .864 would lead the Ottawa Senators in save percentage right now. So Ottawa's just in a tricky position right now. I'll give credit to Paul Quinney, who over the course of the offseason and even last season when we were doing the Senators Roundtable, he would often say that the best course of action is to go after a backup goaltender, like a veteran. And even still, I stick to my belief that Levi Merilainen was going to be good enough. I think he is still going to be good enough. I think it's just a veteran goalie would help with some security, but I think Merilainen's going to be fine. Just go get some reps in the AHL. He's not going to see a ton of action behind Linus Ullmark, I don't imagine. So it's not going to hurt anything.
No. I mean, Merilainen's one game. I mean, every goalie has a bad game. So, I mean, I think it's too early to say he's not backup material. Definitely something that I don't think is a big concern right now, him being sent down at his one bad start here.
And I think to build off of it, you say it's just one bad game. If Ullmark is playing at like a .930 save percentage right now, there's not even a question about Merilainen going to the AHL. So it's an Ottawa goaltending problem, which we've seen plenty of before. But it's not necessarily a Merilainen problem. It's not necessarily an Ullmark problem. It's just a goaltending. Something has to change right now. Goalies need to play. So. Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, it would be helped if the defense played better in front too. I mean, it's not always the goalies' problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good segue though into our next one, and that is the Senators' record. 2-4-0. Again, not a horrible start, but not the best. They've allowed a lot of goals, the worst actually in the NHL right now. What are the biggest concerns in the Senators game right now?
They're losing. That's the biggest concern. But the reason behind the losing is the team looks like they did last season, which is what everybody did not hope for, because they have the experience of playoff hockey, meaningful games and such. So seeing them look like an inexperienced team that kind of they're flying by the seat of their pants. It looks like a DJ Smith team so far.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to hit the panic button. I see these people posting all over the internet and saying it's the end of the world and, oh no, they don't have their 2026 first round pick, which is a whole other issue. But they're not going to be in the running for Gavin McKenna. They have shown great flashes. The biggest issue is that they are losing games that they're supposed to win. So you look at the Nashville game. Yes, it was 4-1, but it was really only a 2-1 game with a couple empty net goals. It was a 2-1 game and they could have won that easily. Obviously Brady Tkachuk missing the last 9 minutes, so that doesn't help. But then you look at the game against the Kraken too. That was a winnable game. You look at the game against the New York Islanders, that was a winnable game. It's just they're not winning the games that they're supposed to, and that's what they looked like last year. They just looked like a young run and gun team, and that's not who they're supposed to be anymore. It doesn't fit their identity. And without Brady Tkachuk, they don't have much of an identity. He's the captain of the team. He's the tough guy and whatnot. So it's just been a lot of small things, but we're 6 games into the season. I'm not worried about anything. Things will fix itself. Even the best teams in the league. Look at the Edmonton Oilers, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. They have sucked each of the past 2, probably first 15 games. They've been awful. And I'm not saying that Ottawa has the talent to bounce back like the Edmonton Oilers have, but it's not the end of the world to I know people look at American Thanksgiving and say if you're more than 4 points out, statistically, you're going to miss it. But we're still a long ways away from that.
Yeah. They also haven't gotten their bad November. Usually it's a bad November.
Yeah. They're terrible in November. They weren't too bad last season, if I recall correctly. They need to have a good month of November to shut everybody up right now.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be good to have that. I mean, it's easily done. You got 2 more wins. You're back to 500. It's not really hard to get back. Yeah. So yeah, they just got to start playing better. And like you say, winning the games that they should. And of course they lost that Sabres game. We talked about being that must win. So.
Yeah, we did. And it, like, you could see just the way that people responded to that it was a must win. Like that, immediately everybody hit the panic button. And I think the only saving grace is that they almost came back. Two goals in the first, like, I think it was minute and 17 seconds or something like that into the third period to make it a 5-4 game. But then the wheels just fell back off and they scored a bunch more against.
Yeah. that was a bit of a fire wagon game for sure. Yeah. All right. You mentioned, you alluded to this about line combinations. Of course, there are a lot of injuries and different things with performances, and there's no real good line, I guess. What do you think are the best ones with the circumstances the way they are right now?
Yeah, so a week ago I was talking about Ridley Gregg and how I think that he should be kind of filling in Brady Tkachuk's shoes. But I think I've changed my mind on that. I think in the absence of him, it's a good time to mix things around and just see what works. Obviously, you don't want to just be testing lines and whatnot, but we've seen flashes. And even Travis Green has said that the line of Dylan Cousins and Tim Stützle and whoever else is on the third line, but those two have played really, really well together, about 25 minutes, and they're just performing. They both are putting up the points. So keeping those two together would help. If you want to put Dylan Cousins on the wing, Shane Pinto fits with everybody. He's been doing really well with Ridley Gregg. Michael Amadio's being put into bigger spots that he doesn't necessarily fit in. He plays a good game, but he doesn't have the pace to keep up with the top six. So if it was up to me, you want to get Zetterlund going too. So I would go Zetterlund, Stützle, Cousins. And then for the second line, I would do Gregg, Pinto, Giroux, and try and get everybody going in that top six and look for the offense. And so that leaves some guys like Arthur Kaliev, where you're going to throw him into the lineup. I don't know. He's been recalled. He might just be the extra skater. What are you going to do with Michael Amadio? Back to the bottom six, probably where he plays better. And if you need the extra forwards, like if they keep running into more injuries, they do have guys in the AHL. Oli Lixell, he played well while he was up. Stephen Halliday, he's shown some pretty impressive talent so far. There's options which Ottawa hasn't had in a long time. So I'm not too concerned about the forwards. It's just more so figuring out which way the best formation is for them.
For sure. And of course, it would help if people would just start scoring more. Start to come up with Pinto's numbers. The next one, I was Cousins with 3. And Perron, couple, Stützle has a couple. There's just not a lot beyond Pinto right now, and that's where you need to kind of have some guys kind of start connecting and scoring some goals, which would help. And of course, not allowing as many, which is also an issue right now. So we'll see how that all goes in the next week or so. All right, Jacob. Well, thanks for coming on again, updating the Senators as we continue throughout the season. Where again, Senators 2-4. We'll see where their record stands next week as we get together again. But make sure to check out everything at thehockeyrush.com. We've, of course, got all of the coverage of all the games, lots of other articles to take a look at. And, of course, all the other YouTube videos that we got on. If you want to keep up to date with some other teams, you can take a look at those. But until our next one, we will see you next time.